Hey, this is Introvert Dave, and I've been trying to learn Python since we went into lockdown. And I found this great little app on Google Play for Android, which gives ideas for programs for coders to create. It seems like a great little app for beginners to get some hands-on experience creating their own software. So I thought I'd go through some of the ideas and create my own programs. And I thought it'd make a great YouTube series. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first program I'm going to develop is a change return program. So the description says develop a program that has the user enter the cost of an item and then the amount the user paid for the item. Your program should figure out the change and the number of coins needed for the change. So I'll just plan out what we need the software to do first. The first thing is we need the user to input the item cost and the amount paid. Next, we want the software to calculate the change. It's simply amount paid minus the item cost. And finally, we want the software to calculate the number of each coin to return. So first off, we're going to want a dictionary which contains the names and the values of each coin. So I'll just create that first. Next, we're going to want the user to input the item cost. So we'll create a variable to store that. And we're going to want to cast it to a float. And that will cause us an error eventually. But for now, we'll just do this. How much did the item cost? And I'll explain why that will cause us an error once we've got the main bulk of the programming finished. Then we're going to want the amount paid, which is essentially going to be the same thing. Next, we're going to want to calculate the change, which is literally just the amount paid minus the item cost. And we can immediately print that out to the console. Let's put this in a quick format string. Like so. Finally, we're going to want to iterate over the coins dictionary to calculate how many of each coin we need to return. So we can do that with a for loop. So for coin name, comma, coin value in coins dict dot items. That allows us to iterate over the actual dictionary. We then can calculate count, which is going to equal change divided by coin value. And to make sure we get whole numbers, we really want to cast that to an integer. Then we want to take out what we've calculated from the change. So we can simply do change equals change equal change mod coin value, and to ensure that that stays as 2 decimal places, we'll use the round function on that. Then we can print out number of coin name coins to return, and that's simply going to be count. So now we'll give that a quick test and check that it's running. So how much did the item cost? We'll say £4.65. How much money have you paid? Let's say £10. And that gives us change of £5.35, £2 coins to return 2, £1 coin to return 1, 20p coin to return 1, one 10p coin to return, and one 5p coin to return. So that all looks okay. Now remember when I said at the user input that this could give us an error? Well, what I meant was, what happens if we get to here and our finger slips and we end up returning something that's not a number? Well, then we get a value error. So we need to account for that. And we can do that with a simple function. So we'll go back to the top of our program and just define a quick function. We'll call it valid input. And we'll take a message string in. Then basically all we're going to do is take one of our inputs, send it to a temporary value, let's say user input, and pass the message that we send in. Now to check that that's actually a valid input, what we can do, we can wrap it in a try except. Sorry, I've forgotten the words I was trying to think of. We can wrap it with try and accept. So this will take an exception of value error, and we can print out the error. We can say something along the lines of invalid input, please make sure to use only numbers. Now, so that that doesn't break us out of the program, what we can do, we can wrap this in a while loop. So if we add a while true loop, we can get to here, and that will loop forever. But once we've got a valid input, we can simply return that input, and that will break us out of the loop. Then to call that, we can come down here and simply replace our input strings here with the function name, passing in the message that we want. And we can do that with both sections. So now if we run that, that should work precisely the same if we if we actually run the program and put it in numbers. But now if we try putting in something that's not a number, it will come up with an error. So if we try that again, go back to the £4.65, how much money have we paid, put in something that's not a number, we get the invalid input. So again we'll do the £10, and again we get the correct response. Now there is another problem we've got, because what happens if we have an item cost, say £7.50, but in the money paid we only put £5. We see that it still tries to do the calculation, but it gives us a change of a negative value, and the first coin is a negative. That's because we've entered a lower figure for the amount paid than the item actually cost. So again, we're going to need to account for that, and we can do that quite simply. If we come up to this part here, we can add an if statement. If amount paid is less than item cost, print please pay an extra and then we can add a string concatenation on item cost minus amount paid. And then we can add an else statement and wrap everything else within that. So now if we try the program again and we try that, putting in too much money, we get a concatenation error because I should have wrapped that in a string. Or even better, be consistent and use an F string like I did earlier. So let's try that again. £5 paid, please pay an extra £5. Just adjust that to add the pound. Oh, that's a dollar. Add the pound symbol. Try it again. Please pay an extra £1.5, £1.50. And that's it. That's our program working. I hope you've enjoyed watching me fail on occasion. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.